Hello, everyone. Welcome to Start Your Dungeons. I'm Adam.
I'm Bryce, and today we're going to look over the two newest starter decks that are available for the One Piece trading card game. Specifically, the new Starter Deck 8 and Starter Deck 9 with Monkey D. Luffy in this set, and then Yamato from the Wano arc in this set.
And before we get started on the questions, I know basically nothing about One Piece. I watched one episode.
I'm a diehard One Piece fan.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to catch up.
Yeah.
And I know that there are many years of this show to catch up on. So let's talk about what comes in these boxes.
So each box is going to come with a couple of things. First off, you're going to get a ready-to-play 50-card deck, which is really nice. They give you 4 pretty much of every card in there. These decks are kind of built to be on a lower power level to kind of get you into the game, but they're still really good. They're really fun to play with. You get a leader card, which in each deck, like I said, this one is for Monkey D. Luffy, and this one is for Yamato. You get 10 Dawn cards, which are kind of like your resources that you use to basically pay.
Mana,
yeah,
and Magic the Gathering.
They're their own
kind of
little deck, so
yeah.
they're not mixed in. Similar to if anyone's played the original Force of Will stuff that came out, and that original kind of game, very similar kind of that style. And then you get a play sheet, and the play sheet we show both sides here. One side that shows you the rules, which pretty simplistic, and then one that you can use as a playmat to kind of help get you started.
Okay, so what do you think about the quality?
These cards are thick. I don't know if we just play I don't know if you can feel this, but this card feels thicker than a normal Magic card.
It does.
It's higher quality, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The foiling is really nice on the leaders, and you get basically the leader is foiled. There's 2 characters that are foiled in the decks as well, and that's kind of it for bling in terms of that style. The paper mat is nice. It's simple. It's a paper mat, but I was genuinely surprised sleeving this deck for both of these. The card thickness was so much I was this is a little bit thicker than a normal card, and I appreciate that for longevity reasons, making sure that this sticks around. I mean, I'm going to sleeve it because I'm a fiend when it comes to sleeving cards, but if I didn't, I wouldn't be so worried about the card quality, at least from looking at these decks.
And before we move into some of the other questions, how much do you pay for each one of these sets?
I actually picked them up at Target, for anyone who knows what that is in the US, and I paid $15, I believe, for each one. They were not terribly
really
expensive. Nice. I think honestly, if you look at what you're paying for starter decks for a lot of other things, this is pretty cheap. It's not terribly expensive to just pick this up and get going, which is kind of what I did. I mean, I literally bought these 2, we played a game, and now we're talking about it.
So how easy is it to get into this game?
So I think that One Piece has actually been out for a little while, the trading card game. It suffers from really bad issues with getting product in the US. It's just had a lot of issue with product lines. But they've started selling these decks in Targets and Walmart. So I think they're actually able to help. Yeah, it's going to be a big help. But in terms of playing the game, I mean, I read the rules to you and we played, and it's super easy. I don't think it's terribly difficult to understand. It's a little bit trickier than Magic, where in terms of you can only attack their leader or a tapped other enemy creature. But a lot of it's very similar to just, I'm going to power up my guy. And the thing in this game is if your attack equals or succeeds their attack value, you damage them, which is either you KO that character, or if it's their leader, they get a life card, similar to Pokemon-esque almost, where instead of you destroying something and you drawing a prize card,
it's the opponent.
Yeah, it's the opponent drawing it.
I was actually really surprised at the overlap in the layout of the board from Pokemon. So instead of having a bench, you've got this area over here for your character area. Right. It's just like your Pokemon bench, except that you don't pull out one Pokemon to to battle.
It feels to me, like I said, if anyone's played that original, very first, when it originally started, Force of Will card game, and Pokemon had a baby.
Yeah.
And, it's really good. It's very simple to play. I mean, we easily picked it up. We played a game. It's not very long to play.
Took about 10, 15 minutes tops.
And I'll say this as well. One of the things when this game first came out that I don't know if it's still available on the App Store. I still have it on my iPhone. There is a free app for this game that teaches you how to play it.
Huh.
And it's 4 missions. It's a basic, an advanced mission. One where you play as the Straw Pirates, the first starter deck they've released. Mm-hmm. And then the other one is the Animal Beast Pirates, which was like the 3rd or 4th one they did in the first 4 set. But it's really cool because you can technically play it indefinitely. Like, you'll never, there's no deck building or anything like that. But like every now and then before I got these physical things, like, I would just pull it out and like play it. Like, it was very good at teaching me the game and getting me excited. So if that's available on the App Store for you to find, it's I believe One Piece TCG like demo. Look it up. It actually really, I think, no other card game that I personally have played has made a free app that lets me learn the game. Mm-hmm. Besides like Pokemon having the app.
Pokemon's got one.
But
that's it.
Yeah, I mean, Magic has it in Arena, I guess they kind of teach you, but like this was so simple to learn, and like I don't know, it was really nice to have that little app that was like, hey, if you're excited about trying this game out, here's a way to play it, and then to be able to keep playing it without spending any money.
Yeah. So what do you think about the overall rule set? I mean, what are the things that you like, and is there anything that you don't like?
I like all of it personally. So the way it basically works is you're going to be flipping over two cards from your Dawn deck every turn, and that's like your mana source or your like resources. And then you have different ways you can use them. You either tap them to play cards. You can either equip them to characters to give them extra attacks, and then you're swinging at your opponent's leader or his tap things. Like, it's very simple. The only thing that's like a little bit fun that I like is the whole counter system, which is
that was different.
You play a card from your hand and it gives you a bonus to your person, and then, like I said, if it's higher than their value, you win. So you're trying to defend against this, but every time you draw a card from your life deck, some of them have triggers that cause them to automatically do abilities and different things. So there's a lot to this game I really like. Like I said, I was a huge Force of Will player when it first landed in the US. Like, I played competitively in tournaments. I love that game. I also played competitive Pokemon for a little while. And like, this to me feels like a super fun competitive game that is not terribly hard to understand. And that lets me get to live and breathe kind of playing One Piece characters, which, you know, I've been following One Piece for a very long time since it's actually started. I remember buying the first manga volume when it was released in the US. Like, I love this series. I've been following it for years, and it just feels like One Piece, like fighting. You know, you got some fun characters that are playing. You can block. You can do that. It's like with certain characters, it just feels like this kind of combat system where the leader is important, and I like that. Also, coming from like Commander, it has similar style where like they're like your commander in charge.
Yeah. So is this a complete game? You know, if you have like a starter set or a starter box, is that enough to get you playing?
Yeah, I mean, if you have these 2 decks, like, you could play this indefinitely if you want to. There are colors in this game similar to Magic, so this is yellow for Yamato, and this is black for Luffy. And black deals a lot with like characters dying, going to the graveyard, similar to like black and Magic. And yellow is actually about using your life pool to gain additional effects and things. So it's a very cool system, and you can play these indefinitely. Now, like, I don't know much about deck building in this game. I assume you can use these and build out from them, because really, like, the Dawn cards are eternal because everyone has the same amount of Dawn cards in every game. The leader's nice to give you an option. So yeah, like, you could play it against each other. Like, I genuinely will keep using these. Like, I think this game is super fun enough to where, like, just this product is enough for me to use and keep playing.
And just, you know, maybe buying booster packs to expand upon it.
Right. And booster packs are something you can easier get in the US. Finding the starter decks used to be really hard until these 2 came out. But you can find usually booster boxes at some place. Our local place doesn't have, one of our local places doesn't have starter decks, but they had booster boxes. Okay. So it might be something where you can kind of pick up and expand from that. And this game has a really strong community online. So if you are looking to like pick it up and play and then do some more online. Like there's a very big online community for this game.
And maybe ask your local store if they can get them.
Right. And it is, like I said, it is difficult, but if they can get it, I think this is a really good, fun game to kind of like play that's not a terribly, at least from my understanding, not a huge influx of money to buy a starter deck and kind of keep going.
So who are these for? Is this for just new players? Is this something that maybe veteran players of the One Piece TCG would like to grab?
These are new leaders, so if you are looking to if you already play this game, they might be worthwhile. I have heard these decks are on the lower level when it comes to power level in this game, so they may not be the best for you to pick up in terms of like if you really like that leader, maybe pick them up. I don't personally know the value for an experienced player, but if you're a new player, yeah, I mean, it's hard to beat a $15 deck that's indefinitely good and can be played.
Yeah, especially because it was pretty easy to jump in. I mean, I made some mistakes.
Right.
But there was just a couple of moments where it's like, oh, well, this is actually what's going on, and just quickly corrected, and then we just kept going.
Right. And I think that's really nice. I think that when you start a new card game, it can be really difficult because you're used to other systems. When I played Force of Will, that was a huge thing. It was like the only ever game I ever played was Magic and Pokemon, and I was like, this is so different. And now, like, I think with a variety of games kind of under my belt of different TCGs, this is a little bit easier to get into. But I think if you're new to TCGs as well and you like One Piece and you're like, oh, there's a card game, I'd like to check it out, I don't think you're going to struggle really with this. I think I feel like there's less gotcha moments in this deck, and I like that. Whereas I feel like sometimes in Magic, if you're a newer player to Magic, you might be like, oh, I don't know that there's a card that will instantly kill me if I take damage. Like, I don't know that, but the guys, boom. And it's like, you can have a negative play kind of experience. I feel like these games are also like, we only played one, and I played a couple back and forth, like with the app and stuff, but it feels like these games are always close, and I don't feel like I'm ever going, I'm just going to lose this match outright. Yeah. Like, I feel like there's some, like, web, even flow to kind of, like, how the game kind of switches. Because really on, like, your last turn, I was like, oh, you could do it this way, and you can win. And you're like, wow, like, I literally won in one active, like, one cool activation. But if you hadn't, my crackback would have probably beat you. So, like, that to me is a really cool thing where, you kind of like because your resources can be buffed for your characters, but you can't use them as resources. It's kind of like, am I going to play more guys, or am I going to make my guys stronger so like you can't hopefully counter through it? Yeah, and that just is a really, I think, cool kind of system that not a lot of other card games kind of have. They never feel like, I never felt like when you played a counter card, I went, oh, that's a gotcha moment. It was like, I need to think in my head, because I know pretty much all the cards, like, most of them only counter up to, like, 2,000 power additionally. So if I can get to plus 3,000 power above you, you probably can't stop me. And I really like that as an idea.
Yeah. There's an amount of predictability in it.
Right.
It's taking chances without it being so risky that you don't want to play.
And I think, too, what's nice is, like, because it is that kind of like ebb and flow of like, oh, well, I put 3 resources on my guy out of my 6. Well, now I only have 3 resources to play cards. Like, I may not be able to play as much. And I think that really makes the game, again, like that tug of like, well, do I play more characters? This character can't block. So really, is it like helping me, or is it like, should I be advancing and dealing damage? But dealing damage gives them a new card. Like, I don't know. I think that's a really fun sort of mechanic.
So would you keep playing this game? Is this enough to get you going?
I mean, if I could buy this product more easily in the U.S., I would probably have a massive collection of this game. Like, I'm just being honest. Like, I love One Piece. It's a world that I love and enjoy. You know, I've followed the manga for years. I watched the anime as well, and like knowing that I could play this game and like play with my favorite characters, and then also like, there's so many different leader options they have, you know, so it's like, oh, I could play this version of Luffy is in black colors, but there's also a version of Luffy that's in red. So it's like, there's different versions of different characters and different ways you can play. And like, that to me, yeah, like if I could buy product for this, like I probably would spend the money just because I enjoy this world and the system enough to where it's a win-win. It's not like Magic where sometimes I'm like, I don't really super like this setting, but like there's some cool cards. Like I'm like, I love everything in this setting, so I would keep playing.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, for me, this was easy enough to get started. You know, even though I don't know the characters, this might make me want to watch the show to learn the characters so that I can play the game.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that's cool too. Is like some of the cards are like little flashes to like certain characters where you're like, oh, that was like a minor character. Like there's a card in the Luffy deck from like early on in the series, and I was like, I literally forgot about this dude. Like he's from like the beginning of the series, but I was like, that's cool that he's in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that to me is like something that's really cool, is that it's paying homage to the entire series instead of just being like, oh, it's just the new stuff.
Yeah. Well, if you've played the One Piece trading card game and you have thoughts on it, leave it in the comments down below and tell us what you think.
Yeah. But that's our review for both the starter deck number 8 and starter deck number 9 for the One Piece trading card game. Take care.
Bye.